Okay. I wasn't planning to address this in my original video about tea bags, but I've subsequently decided it's gonna bother me if I don't. So here we go. Hail and well met, friends, and welcome to an extra special, super fact-packed, all facts fact-checker edition of a segment that I like to call Our Flag Means Facts. Today I'd like to share with you some facts about a fact I uncovered whilst I was researching for that video that I made recently where I tasted all that tea. As mentioned in my previous video, which you should definitely go check out after this one if you haven't already, or go give it a rewatch if you have already seen it, because to be honest, the engagement really helps. By the way, like and subscribe, all that jazz, yada yada yada, you know. As mentioned in that video, a patent was filed in the year 1901 for what was then known as a tea leaf holder by Milwaukee residents Roberta Lawson and Mary McLaren. Except that my first encounter with this fact informed me that this patent was filed by Milwaukee residents Roberta Lawson and Mary McLaren. Now, if this were a simple error that had occurred once in my research and never again, I could chalk it up to a simple typo and leave it at that. However, not only was this typo in Wikipedia, but also repeated across various other publications, blogs, news sites, and publications as prestigious as Time magazine and the Smithsonian. So where the hell did this misconception come from? Having seen and read a copy of the original patent US 7232887A, which is freely available to view on Google's patent archive site, which is a wonderful resource, and literally took me under a minute to find. The text clearly states in multiple places that the names of the patent filers were Roberta Lawson and Mary McLaren. So anyone who had done this minuscule, rudimentary amount of primary research would have been able to get their names right? Which led me to believe that somebody somewhere made a typo, and everybody else, from rando blogs about tea to the Smithsonian, have just been copying someone else's homework instead of bothering to check the facts themselves. And then I noticed something on the patent's index page on Google. If you scroll down a ways, you'll find a section marked Description, which is, as far as I can tell, a transcription of the text of the patent itself, but which was very clearly one of those automated transcriptions by some computer software and then never actually checked by a human being because, like, look at it. It's full of random question marks and words mashed together without spaces, obvious typos, and oh yeah, Mary McLaren. Heck, it even gets Roberta Lawson's middle initial wrong here, and if you do scroll all the way down to the end of this block of text, you will be met with Mary McLaren. I mean, come on. If you take anything even infinitesimally longer than a cursory glance at this text, it's obvious that it is rife with the kinds of errors that this kind of software tend to make when auto-transcribing a scan of an old printed document. So clearly somebody somewhere who was probably in a big hurry scrolled down the page just far enough to find Mary McLaren, took that as read without bothering to click on the little PDF file that's right there. Literally took me seconds to do. Didn't look at the rest of it, and other publications have just been replicating this mistake from one another ever since. And when I say countless, I mean so many. From fluff pieces on news sites, to blog posts, to organizations' as news pages, to articles specifically about the achievements of notable women of history. All just took it as read that, well, it says it on that other website, and there's no reason that they would lie about it, so I suppose there's no point in me, cross-checking this against an actual source. And is this a pretty innocuous example in the grand scheme of things? Well, yeah, but it is an example of how easy it is for an inaccuracy to spread, whether through malice or, in this case, a careless mistake, and then snowball out from there. Why this is important to me is that the further these things are allowed to spread, the more it cements itself in, countless people's consciousness as legitimate, and the further obscured we become from the truth. As I've already encountered in a number of my historical deep dives, and I haven't even done that many for this channel, oftentimes we don't have a primary source to point to say, ah yes, this is the origin of that thing, or that's how that thing was made. You know, like for instance a tea bag or a type of biscuit or whatever. So when I do actually have a piece of extant primary information that I can point to and say, aha, I understand this now, you've got to treasure that, you know? And I mean, it may sound hyperbolic, but you know, here in the UK, we consume literally billions of tea bags every single year. Even if you don't consider them that important in the grand scheme of things, this is our lifeblood. As inconsequential as it may seem, this is a part of our history. Not to mention that this extremely important piece of engineering was invented by two women, and I think we need to do our best to honor them by at the very least remembering what their names actually are. And that's why it's so important to check what your sources actually are when you're doing these kinds of research. Like, it's so easy for anyone to just say absolutely anything. Anybody can just make up a complete lie, put it on the internet, stick it on their blog, present it as facts. And if one person picks that up in their shoddy research, publishes it in an article, then at the very least a handful of people are going to see that and go, aha, that must be true because they published it. And even if they edit it later on or issue a retraction, most people who've already read the article aren't going to go back and see that. They're still going to be laboring under the assumption that the incorrect thing is true. Because they probably took it as read that you put in the bare minimum of research, at the very least, to verify that the information that you're putting to publication is correct. And yeah, I get it. Everybody makes mistakes. It's okay. Most people aren't going to go back and, you know, look up the index page for the U.S. patent for a tea leaf holder that just because it was mentioned in Smithsonian Magazine or the Times of India, or Cup of Tea blog celebrates women in the history of tea. I mean, I do because it's my job, and also because I have ADHD, which compels me to deep dive into things that my brain thinks are cool. Sometimes to the detriment of other things I'm actually supposed to be doing. Shut up. So my point is, check your damn sources. You know, so if your source is a news article or Wikipedia or whatever, check and see what primary sources those point to, and go have a look at them, and maybe go and try find some more of your own, just for funsies if you can. The number of photos that I went through in my municipal county council's archive in order to find anything relevant for that video I did about coffee last year, it was a lot, but I learned something. And if you watched that video, so did you. At least, I feel like I got as close as I could get to the truth, and that's important. Also, if your source is a business whose interest it is to weave as interesting a tale about their own history, keep digging. This is surprise foreshadowing that definitely won't become relevant in the next few videos I'm filming. But for now, I'd just like to raise, let's pretend this is a teacup and not a cup of coffee, to the venerable inventors of the tea bag, the Mrs. Roberta Lawson and Mary McLaren of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, for their invaluable contribution to society. Cheers. Oh god, that's delicious. Anyway, thank you so much for sticking with me for this weird supplementary video that honestly, it was just gonna bug me if I didn't make it, so I did. If you like this kind of nonsense, please feel free to stick around, subscribe, you know, get yourself notified when new videos go up, yada yada yada. Like this video, let me know what you think down in the comments, I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to see me when I'm not making videos, I'm over on Twitter doing tweety things, I'm over on Instagram doing Instagrammy stuff. I also stream 4 times a week on Twitch doing art and cozy game content. I also have a Patreon where I post some exclusive artworks as well as exclusive videos, which are a lot of fun to make, and a couple of possible fun new things forthcoming as well as a 10% discount in my shop. Oh yeah, also I have a shop where you can buy my cookbooks and art prints and stickers and pins and all kinds of super fun stuff. But regardless, I just want to thank you all very much indeed for watching, and I hope you have a splendid day.